Space and Trails Department, and we're here to talk about the Wellington Hazardous Fuel Reduction prescribed pile burning that's going to be taking place near the French Creek neighborhoods in Breckenridge in the coming months. You may have seen this project reported in the Summit Daily yesterday as unprecedented. I just wanted to start off by saying that nothing about the operations or the conditions under which we're going to burn are really going to be unprecedented. This is going to be very similar to the types of pile burning and the types of conditions under which pile burning has been done in the past on Forest Service lands in the county. What is unprecedented about this project is that this is the first time in the state that a multi-agency collaborative is joining forces to burn piles on local public land. So taking those fuel reduction efforts that we've been doing on the Forest Service, moving those over to the local lands and really maximizing the amount of wildfire risk reduction that we're able to accomplish. So before I get into the content of tonight's presentation, I just wanted to introduce all the different partners on this project and talk about their roles in the project a little bit more. Like I said, I'm from Summit County Open Space and Trails. Our role is that we are the 50% interest owners in the open space properties on which this project is taking place, along with our partners at the town of Breckenridge. What that means is that we're responsible for land management in that area, for assessing scopes of work that for land management activities that are going to happen out there, and for really just bringing all the different stakeholders to the table to get a project like this done from the cutting stage, piling the slash, and then finally burning those piles, which is what we're here to talk about tonight. The Colorado State Forest Service, specifically Ashley Garrison, who is the forester here in Summit County, really was responsible for putting together the scope of work for this project and for getting bids and putting together contracts to get this work done, both on the Forest Service and on the open space side. And so really we're the land managing partners, Summit County Open Space, Town of Breckenridge, and Colorado State Forest Service. What I've really admired about Colorado State Forest Service is their commitment to seeing this project through to the very end, and they've helped us develop the burn plan for the Wellington project. Ashley Garrison was again key in getting that burn plan drafted. As we move over to the left side of the screen, these are kind of the operational partners, the folks who are helping us to get the fire on the ground safely and consume those fuels. So we have the Colorado Division of Fire Prevention and Control. Ryan McCulley has been who I've worked with at the Division of Fire Prevention and Control. He's the Deputy District Chief here for our region. And he has been really instrumental in getting the proper agreements together so that DFPC can burn on county and town lands. He's also helped draft the burn plan. And another valuable thing that Division of Fire Prevention and Control is providing is training to our local fire districts to increase our capacity to complete these types of projects here locally. Summit County Sheriff Jamie Fitzsimons is acting as the agency administrator for this project, and that is part of his role and his statutory duties as the fire warden here in Summit County. And so he's responsible for looking at those burn plans, reviewing them with the preparer from Division of Fire Prevention and Control, and really giving his final stamp of approval that these plans are thorough and that this operation can be done safely. Red, White, and Blue Fire Protection District is the local fire protection districts in the Breckenridge area. They are going to provide burn boss trainees on this project. They're also going to provide firefighter support as well as assisting me with communications to the community. And then finally, Summit Fire and EMS is also serving as an operational partner in that they will provide additional firefighter support and supplies for getting this project done. And then you'll see the Forest Service there in the center, and the Forest Service is a partner on this project, not only because it was a cross-boundary project on both Forest Service and open space lands, but because they will also be serving as an operational partner doing the pile burning, and there is some opportunity for us to join forces and get all the piles on both ownerships completed in the same operation. So with that, the outline for this presentation, I'll start by talking about the project overview and timeline and giving a little background for those who may not be as familiar with this project. I'm going to turn things over to Matt Benedict, the Wildland Division Captain from Red, White, and Blue Fire. Unfortunately, Ryan McCulley from DFPC is not able to make it to be here with us. And then I'm going to come back and talk about communications, how we're going to let you all know what is going on with this burn and when we're planning burn days, and as well as community impacts and what you can expect to see on those burn days. And then finally, we'll turn things over for questions from the audience. So the Wellington Hazardous Fuels Reduction Project, as I alluded to, is a 90-acre cross-boundary project, 45 acres of Forest Service, and about 45 acres of town and county open space. There's a variety of treatments, including clear cutting and thinning treatments on this parcel, resulting in about 2,000 hand-built slash piles in the project area. And really, to meet the objectives of reducing hazardous fuels and the risk of wildfire, we need to get those piles burned up and get rid of those fuels. This project was funded through the 1A Strong Futures Fund. This is a voter-approved funding mechanism that was approved in 2018 and provides about $1 million per year for wildlife mitigation programs and strategies, including the Sheriff's Office Fire Watch, which provides early fire detection and response here in the county, as well as a U.S. Forest Service dispersed rec crew that provides wildfire education, fire restriction education to forest users, as well as looking for unattended campfires and putting those out before they become wildfires. And in addition, the 1A Strong Futures Fund also funds projects like the Wellington Hazardous Fuel Reduction Project, where we're physically out there removing fuels from the landscape. And the Colorado State Forest Service worked really hard to get cost match from Denver Water for their Forest to Faucets program. And Denver Water really is interested in forest and watershed health, because when a catastrophic wildfire goes through an area, it has a significant effect on the water quality and quantity going into our streams and into our reservoirs and eventually into people's taps. So they have a vested interest in reducing catastrophic wildfire risk in these key watersheds like the Upper Blue. As I alluded to earlier, the objectives of this project are to reduce the initiation and spread of crown fire, so avoiding a fire that looks like what we're seeing in the top section of the right-hand side of the screen, to maintain forest resiliency to wildfire. So we don't expect wildfire to never move through this area, but if it does, we're hoping to change the wildfire behavior, keep it low to the ground, and have low intensity fire, so that in turn our firefighters will have an increased ability to protect structures, which in this case could be your home or your neighbor's home. And in order to meet these objectives, we do need to get these slash piles burned. The photo on the right-hand side may not look like much, but this is Captain Matt Benedict's gloved hand in the snow at the Wellington site this morning, the 27th of October, showing the snow depth about 4 or 5 inches on some of the south-facing slopes that are holding the least amount of snow at the site. So in the forestry treatments, they were completed in 2020, and we're planning burn operations this year, currently looking at a burn window between November 7th and 11th. But really, that is to be determined depending on weather. And we'll talk about what those conditions need to be in just a moment. We're anticipating 2 to 3 burn days total. There's 2,000 piles approximately on this site. Between Forest Service and open space operations, we were able to burn 1,000 piles total per day. So even with 2 days of joint operations, that would be the absolute minimum of days where that we would be burning piles at this site. So in order to do those operations, we need a minimum of 6 inches of snow on the ground, which, as I said, we're getting close to, but not quite there yet. We want a forecast that's going to retain that snow, not just for a short period of time, but ideally for the entire winter season. So we want this to be the base of the snowpack starting to form. We want more and more snow to keep building up on these piles and after we've burned them. And then finally, the ventilation, or how well smoke disperses into the atmosphere, is going to be another factor that determines how many piles we can burn and when, which will help us to reduce smoke impacts when wind and ventilation conditions don't allow smoke to disperse as well. So to get ready for this burn, the work we've done up to this point, for about the last year, I've been working with DFPC and the town and county to come to agreements that will allow DFPC to work on county lands. Pulled a smoke management permit from the Air Pollution Control Division of CDPHE, and you can see here on the permit that on good and storm days we can burn up to 1,000 piles, and as that ventilation or smoke dispersal goes down for those days, we have less piles that we can burn. And then we developed a burn plan and hosted operational meetings. As I said, we had to draft a burn plan, which is an extensive process that we've been going through for about the last 6 months. It was drafted by Ashley Garrison and Ryan McCulley at Colorado State Forest Service and DFPC respectively. It's then sent to a third wildland fire professional for technical review to make sure that it has all the required elements and that this can be safely carried out. And the final plan is then reviewed and approved by our agency administrator, Sheriff Jamie Fitzsimons. And with that, I am going to turn things over to Matt Benedict, the Wildland Division Captain from Red, White, and Blue, to talk about burn day operations and post-burn follow-up.
Okay, we're back. I think we're back. Well, thanks for hanging with us online. I am now going to turn things over to Captain Benedict from Red, White, and Blue to talk about what to expect on burn days and following those burns. So thank you.
Yeah. So burn days is going to consist of a whole bunch of firefighters. We're hoping for a pretty good crew up there. These guys are all qualified wildland firefighters. They will be under pretty specific supervision. One of the first supervisor, of course, is the burn boss, but then there will be supervisors out in the field. We have the units broken out. We have the total project broken out into units, and our hope is to burn those as units in kind of chunks of areas. We're not planning on closing anything. We understand that these are popular areas, and we know we'll see people up there. Most likely I will be at the bottom answering questions and allowing people to kind of see where the burn actually is. We certainly don't want to encourage people to come up and help, but we do understand that people will be observing and watching, and that's okay. These are piles in the snow. You guys saw my hand in the one picture today. That was actually before a lot of the snow came in, and there was a solid 6 inches on the southern face. Most of the faces that either had some tree coverage or had different facing east and north face, they all had almost a foot of snow on them. So there's a lot of snow up there. A lot of snow's on the piles right now. The snow came in with no wind, so we got really good coverage up there. So for that, we're very confident and we're happy with. But as far as how the operations will actually go, we will be moving fuel out into the field. Guys will come out, guys and gals will be coming out. And we'll hopefully, with any luck, be kind of moving into the wind and down the hill towards the Wellington neighborhood as a big army of folks. Our goal, of course, is to burn close to our maximums if the atmospheric conditions stay consistent during the burn, but we're also prepared during that. We have a lot of prediction tools, and we understand that the weather can change and we can halt operations right there. That does not mean we'll be putting the piles out that are already going. They will continue, and we'll just monitor those as we need to. As far as the day after, and this is where a lot of people get very concerned, is how are we going to be making sure that the piles stay right where they're supposed to stay within the overall big burn unit? We understand that there will be some creep. They will melt some of the snow and they will creep outside of the footprint, the exact footprint of the pile. That will happen, and we understand that. That's part of the prescription. I will be up there, and some of our other firefighters will be up there days after, just checking on the piles, just to make sure everything's doing what it should and we don't have anything creeping where we shouldn't have it. So those are all things that are part of the plan. This unit, fortunately, is super easy to monitor. We can drive to a lot of different parts of it, and we can it's kind of a short hike in lots of parts. So hope that answers a lot of questions, but I'm here to answer more questions if you need them afterwards.
Thanks, Matt.
All right.
Appreciate it.
All right, Matt covered our post-burn follow-up. So I just wanted to really focus in on burn day communications and kind of that day before the burns, how we're going to let you all know that we're going to be doing operations up there so you can be prepared. So the day before the burn, we're going to send notifications specifically and individually to all smoke sensitive individuals and anyone else who might be interested. So if you are a smoke sensitive individual, or if you would like to receive individual notifications of the burn, you can give me a call at my office. I'm at 970-668-4065. Or you can email me at jordan.mead@summitcountyco.gov, and then I can add you to my list of direct contacts. Our neighborhood and community partner notifications also include all of our local media outlets. So Summit Daily News, the Always Mountain Time News, as well as Crystal Media. So we're just trying to really get this word out into the community as widely as possible before we're going to undertake these operations. We're also going to have posts on social media. So if you're following Summit County or the fire protection districts or DFPC, we'll have, and the Wellington Facebook page as well. We'll have all of our social media posts to let people know that we're going to be performing burns, and then having VMS boards like you're seeing on the screen at the intersection of Huron Road and Highway 9 on French Gulch Road, and as well as on the Highway 9 CDOT VMS board as you leaving Breckenridge, just so that folks who maybe haven't heard about the project are going to get that notification as well while they're driving their car. And then on the day of the burn, we're going to send out the red alert from Summit County Alerts, which is just going to be that basic notification that we are doing prescribed pile burning, where it's located, and that you will be able to see smoke and flame. Don't call 911. If you are not signed up for Summit County Alerts, it's a really great service. It's a great system. And if you just Google Summit County Alerts, it's the first hit on that search. It'll bring up a website that looks just like what's on the right-hand side of my screen here. And there's information there on how to get signed up. And so you'll receive that text message notification from the county on burn days. I'll send out an additional notification to our neighborhood and community partners, as well as the smoke sensitive individuals, to say, yep, we're a go. We're planning on doing ignitions today. And then we're going to update those VMS boards as well, so that they say, smoke and flame visible, prescribed burn, don't call 911. And then as Matt alluded to, we'll have some folks in the neighborhood. We may set up a formal booth and we may just kind of be wandering around, letting people know what's going on and communicating and educating folks in the neighborhood. So really what I think we're all here for and interested in is community impacts. I think it goes without saying, when you burn 1,000 piles potentially in a day, it creates a lot of smoke. And under the proper ventilation and dispersal conditions, especially during the day, you're going to see a lot of that smoke going up into the atmosphere and being blown into Nebraska. And as, as the day, as the sun goes down and there's less convective currents and less wind going, we usually do see some smoke settling into the valley. So it's going to be in the evenings and overnight that you're probably going to notice smoke the most. But we really do want to try our best to minimize the effect of smoke on your community. And so one of the things is that maximum number of piles is dictated by our ventilation and wind conditions. So ventilation is not as good on a burn day, and we're going to burn less piles. We're going to create less smoke, and then even with less dispersal, we should be able to minimize those impacts. Another way that we minimize impacts and assess how smoke is dispersing is by burning a test pile. So Ryan's going to be our burn boss, and he'll be out there, and after his briefing with the firefighters, there'll be a test pile lit, and that will allow Ryan to observe the smoke dispersal, confirm that it is dispersing well, and if it is, then continuing with ignitions. But if we're noticing the smoke's running right down the hill into the valley like a funnel, then we're gonna pull the plug, and we're not gonna continue with ignitions after that test pile. And a third way that we can help to monitor our smoke impacts and understand if we need to cease ignitions is air quality monitoring using purple air sensors. If you're not familiar with purple air, it's a really cool online tool, and you can use it any time of year. It's got live real-time air quality sensors hooked up to a nationwide network. I find this is a really useful tool, especially in the summer during our wildfire season, when you see a smoky haze and you want to know, how much smoke is really in the air, and is this going to affect my health if I go out and do a mountain bike ride or a run or whatever it is. You could go to Purple Air's air quality map, and that's a really cool way to understand what the air pollution levels are. And in this case, there's a real-time sensor right in downtown Breckenridge, and we'll be able to monitor air quality in real time in the heart of Breckenridge. So we'll have a good idea of what the smoke impacts are through the day and overnight. And in addition to that real-time sensor, we're going to have an additional sensor collecting data in the neighborhood so that we can post-burn look at that data and say, what were the conditions? How many piles did we burn? How did those conditions change? And that can help to inform and improve our operations in the future, so we can minimize those impacts even further. And again, I just want to reiterate, if you're a smoke sensitive individual or you want individual notification, give me a call or an email. And Captain Benedict did allude to this for recreation. Roads and trails in the burn area are going to remain open. So if you're cross-country skiing or fat biking or hiking with your dog, you will still be able to use all the trails in this area. We're not going to close them. I do recommend having the dog on a leash, probably, if you're going to be up there with Fido. We will have signage at all the trail portals just to make sure that everyone who is coming into the area is aware of what's going on and why they're seeing smoke and flame, especially if they're not coming from the neighborhood. And then this is just going to be a really cool opportunity for community members to see safe and prescribed pile burning in action, and see that it's a safe operation that we're performing up there. So shouldn't impact your recreational opportunities in really any way. And with that, this is a picture again that Matt Benedict took this morning, looking pretty frosty and snow covered up there. So we're getting close to being in prescription to perform this burn. I just wanted to reiterate again to sign up for the Summit County alerts and get those text messages on burn days, and reach out to me via phone or email if you want to get individual notifications. And with that, I will open things up for questions. And if you're online, again, use the hand raising or type your questions into the chat. Thank you. Commissioner?
So at night time, will you see flames at night? We will. Okay. I mean, I'm just gonna host a party. Watch it. I think that sounds fun. Yeah.
If you remember when Swan Mountain, when they burned Swan Mountain, the big front page, you know.
Yes.
I think you could see it from pretty much the entire northern side of the county.
Uh-huh.
And it pretty much looked like a wall of, stars, yeah, stars. And that's what this will look like, most likely.
Great.
It'll be mostly smoldering, will be a lot of flame, but
Any other questions?
How many?
Hey, Jordan.
Yeah, go Ryan.
I just wanted to make the comment. I'm just looking at the extended weather forecast just to give everybody an idea. I think probably our first coming up window would be middle of the week next week. We're supposed to have a warming or back to near normal temperatures coming through the weekend here, and then another system starts to move in Tuesday or Wednesday. And I'm thinking that's a good time to maybe get out there and get started. So we'll be working closely with the National Weather Service on spot weather forecasts, but just so everybody knows, my tentative plan is to possibly get started middle of the week next week. Of course, that can always change depending on the weather, but that's what we're shooting for at this time.
Thank you. Someone else in the room had maybe a question or a comment? No? All right. All right, I guess with that, I'm gonna go ahead and end the Zoom meeting. I appreciate everyone who joined us here tonight and online. And we will be posting this video on our social media so that folks can watch it at their convenience in the future. Thank you.